Once I learned about my human design, it was like this big weight had been lifted off of me because,
Yes.
like you said, I'm not designed to finish things, and there's so much pressure from the outside world to finish everything before you start a new project, and that is
Yes.
so not me. It is so not me, and I probably look like a crazy person, like a squirrel, right? Because I go where my energy flows, right? And I follow
Yes.
what lights me up. And so when I learned about my human design, it was just like this huge aha moment, permission slip, relief, like, oh, hell yes, I can be who I am, kind of thing.
Yes. Welcome to A Beautiful Fix. I'm Tracy Hill. Each week we'll dive into the latest thought gem, recharging and reconnecting with what lights you up and makes you feel alive. Let's discover your next beautiful fix together. Hey, real quick before we dive in, you're powerful. And sometimes you just need someone to remind you what's already in you. That's what human design does. It's the difference between guessing and knowing. So you can stop searching outside yourself and start trusting the answers within. I promise you they're there. Grab your free chart at abeautifulfix.com, and when you're ready to go deeper, book a one-to-one session with me. All right, let's get into the episode. Welcome back to A Beautiful Fix. Today's guest is someone whose energy and message I know will speak to so many of you. Lyndsey Kampen is the founder of Design the Life You Love with Lynz, a transformational podcast and coaching space dedicated to helping women step out of autopilot and into powerful, soul-aligned living. A mom, entrepreneur, designer, sound bowl healer, retreat host, and coach, Lynz blends intuition, nervous system work, human design insights, emotional healing, and spiritual depth with raw honesty, sacred humor, and practical guidance. She creates space for women to slow down, reconnect with themselves, and design a life that feels like freedom, not just productivity. Lyndsey, I'm so glad you're here.
I am so happy to be here, Tracy. You are such a light and so fun to talk to, and I love what you do, and I love human design, so I am very amped for this conversation.
Yes, I'm so excited. It's wonderful to have a fellow human design nerd on the show so we can just geek out on it. And I was on your podcast a while back, and I've just been meaning to have you on the show. So I'm so happy that you're here today. But let's jump on in. So you help women design the life that they love. But before we get into that, I'd love to know, was there a moment that you realized you were on autopilot?
Oh, yes, that's how this whole thing started, of course. Um, so I've always been some form of designer. I was always in my grandma's antique shop. She had an antique shop and she loved to decorate. I had my own little corner where I sold my own little things and decorated my own little shelves and things like that. And so that was, growing up. I thought I wanted to be an interior designer, so I applied for interior design school, and I was supposed to go to Minneapolis, and I'm from a town of about 400 people. So that kind of freaked me out. I put the brakes on and chose a smaller school. Went to school for a bit. Ended up not necessarily loving that. Met my husband. Ended up in graphic design for 7 or 10 years, something like that. And then that led to interior design and kitchen design. And I was always living in hustle. Hustle, 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 burnout. I came from a family of entrepreneurs, small business owners. My dad had a dairy farm. My grandparents and aunts and uncles all had dairy farms. And my mom owned. How Wisconsin of me, right?
I love
Cheese
it.
and beer. And I was the oldest grandchild. I was the oldest child. I was praised for my hard work and praised for my drive and my ambition. And, it did lead me down a lot of very good paths, but it also led me to a lot of burnout. Work was the most important thing, and I would just go through these cycles of burnout constantly. Work, 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 and then crash. And then work, 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 and crash. And I was like missing my whole life. I was missing out on what was right in front of me, my kids'
Yes.
lives, and just simple things like even nature and being present with myself and with nature and with God on a walk. It feels like I took off dirty glasses.
Mm. So how did you, when you realized that you were just hustling through, what happened next? How did you go from that to where you are now?
So I would say the shift really started right before I left my safe job, right? My job that had insurance and retirement and a
Yes.
quote steady paycheck.
Yes.
I started my business, and once I started my business, I feel like the entrepreneurial journey really is going to crack you, right? You can't run from your stuff anymore because it's just you. And you get to a point where you kind of look around and realize I'm the only one that's holding myself back from success, the life that I want. And I ended up taking some courses actually in design that led into more spiritual paths, like personal development paths. So it was like that first coaching experience was all about someone teaching me how to design or teaching me how to create a design business, even though I had been doing design for 7 years prior to this. I felt like I needed some more validation, right? And at the basis of all coaching, as you probably know, it's energy. It's how you show up, right? It's you can be in a course about networking or advertising or design or manifestation, meditation. They're all going to kind of have the same core teaching, right? So I would say when I first started my business, that's when I got into a couple different programs, and it was like just this little nugget of, follow the breadcrumbs. And each course and each teacher that I came upon, each book that I read, unlocked more presence and more of a slowdown in me.
And so did you suddenly leave your life of graphic design and that kind of world and jump into this, or was it a slow transition?
So I went from graphic design to kitchen design, and then from kitchen design to my own business. And I would say it was a gradual shift. But I'm actually in the middle of closing down my design business, Tracy.
Hey.
This month will be the last month of an eye for it consulting and design because I feel so called to do different work, right? I'm still probably going to end up back there helping people create intentional spaces, but it's not going to look the same. And it's really even hard for me to entertain the way I used to do business because I was so like sales driven and hustle, and like I operate from feelings more than logic now, and I follow my heart more than my head. And I'm sure any business person would be like, you're shutting down this business, and why? But that seems to be my pattern. Following my heart instead of my head and what looks good on paper has rewarded me in so many different ways, in so many different situations that's my program.
You are beautifully designed that way because you are a manifesting generator, correct?
Correct.
That's how you were designed, to pivot and pivot often and to follow the breadcrumbs and not worry about finishing something to what other people may think is a point of closure. It's when you know it has done its thing and it's led me to this, and now I'm going to embrace that. So I love that. So tell us a little bit more about what the world that you live in now. So design now for you has become something else. What are you? We mentioned sound bath, healing, and human design, and what does your world look like now? The one that you're moving towards.
Yeah. Well, I first want to mention that human design, once I learned about my human design, it was like this big weight had been lifted off of me because, like you said, I'm not designed to finish things. And there's so much pressure from the outside world to finish everything before you start a new project. And that is so not me. It is so not me. And I probably look like a crazy person, like a squirrel, right? Because I go where my energy flows, right? And I follow what lights me up. And so when I learned about my human design, it was just like this huge aha moment, permission slip, relief, like, oh, hell yes, I can be who I am, kind of.
Yes. Yes, because not only are you a manifesting generator, but you're also a 3/5, your profile. So for, 3/5s, especially with 3, you are here to do it. Just get out there and get messy. Just trial and error, do all the things, be adventurous, don't sit on the sidelines. And for both manifesting generators and a line 3, to the outside world, it may look a little chaotic. It may look a little messy. People might be like, what is she doing? But once you know your human design and you know that not only are you designed to do that, but it's literally your superpower. It's what makes you unique. It's how you create. It's you taste things and then you get what you need from it and then you try something else and maybe you combine those two. So it's wonderful to see someone living their design and embracing it and feeling that exhale and that permission slip. And I love it.
Yeah, my assistant called me whimsical. And she is not a manifesting generator, so we did not obviously work the same or have the same kind of human design. I think she was a generator.
Okay.
So it was very unique. She said it with love, but I always told her, I'm like, oh yeah, that's your nice way of calling me a beautiful mess or a train wreck or whatever you really think.
I love it. So, okay, so now your world is comprised of human design. And what else? The sound bowl healings, like it's,
Yeah.
what does it look like?
So, okay. I have my own podcast. I have a podcast with my best friend Jenna called Listen In. That's just like basically somebody listening in on our conversations. We already talk about these things, so it's like not a big deal to hit record, right? We talk about human design and personal growth and self-love and all these things that we already want to talk about. So, and then I have my coaching programs. So Blueprint is my signature course. It stemmed from a custom planner that I designed. And that planner is something I've been using for years to help me stay in alignment with my values, with my purpose here, with my spirituality. It's not like a planner that you're going to put in all of your appointments or anything like that. It's an alignment tool. And inside Blueprint, I teach the principles behind that. And then I also have daily audios to really help you stay consistent, because that's one of the things that I struggle with is consistency. And I know that's also part of my human design. Yeah. And then sound bowls, I do sound baths, so in-person events where people can come and get an energetic reset. Sound healing, my particular bowls actually are aligned to the chakras. So when you listen to the sound bowls, it's a way to align your energy and reset. It's also kind of like a gateway drug because it's a tangible thing, right? You know, when you start talking about this, especially in a small town in Wisconsin, you know, and not a lot of people around here talk about manifestation or meditation on the regular. So this is like a gateway drug, right? They can come and have a sound bath, and it's something that's tangible where if you're explaining a course or if you're explaining a retreat, to someone who's never experienced it, it's really hard to convey the value.
So the sound baths, are they at your home or do you have a studio?
Yeah, so in the summertime, we do them on my beach. It's magic. I've always wanted to live on the water, and here where in our area, I wanted to be in the school district. So a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago now, I got tired of looking for the house on the water before we sold our house, and I had this knowing that once we sell our house, the new house will appear. And everybody looked at me like I had two heads. My grandpa especially was like, "You're doing this wrong. Where are you going to live? You've got kids. What are you thinking?" You know, really trying to imprint their limitations on me. And I'm like, it's going to be fine. I'll figure it out. And sure enough, my house sold within 5 days, I believe it was. And we found this place by me cold calling people. Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
You mean like, hello, I love your home. Are you interested in selling kind of cold calling?
Yep.
Lyndsey.
Yeah. So this is such a beautiful example of how we are always being led and it doesn't make sense in the moment. I used to sell newspaper ads. That's pretty much like selling, ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves, right? There's a lot of people that want to do newspaper ads, and I would have to cold call, people I'd never met before, and even my early days as bartending in my mom's bar, you have to learn how to talk to people and not be, scared. And so all of that led me to be able to actually cold call people and say, "Hey, you want to sell your house?" And all it took was one guy who's like, "Yeah, maybe you can come look at it." And we had a deal within a week. Yeah. And it has 540 feet of river frontage. I have a white sandy beach in Wisconsin. I mean, like, these are things that don't even really happen, especially in our area. Yeah.
That is the power of following your nudges that come from that inner authority, not the mind, because the mind is going to listen to this entire story and be like, wait, we're doing what? And we're going to call who? And I love so many things of what you said. I want to ask about the sound healing. But before I forget, I was going to say, you touched on something that I was recently talking to one of my son's friends. She has a job that doesn't pay a whole lot. It's in the industry that she's interested in, but it's hard for her. Listening to what they're paying her, it feels like but I was like, you are learning such beautiful skills because she's doing kind of her version of what you described, having to call people and cold calling and convincing them to, join these programs. Like that is a life skill that many of us rarely master. So, all of these things make sense, maybe not at the time, but later. But I wanted to ask you about the sound healing. I am so into sound healing because I realize that we are energetic beings, that we respond, our body responds. It's all about frequency. And there's something so soothing about being in the presence of sound bowls. I've threatened to get a couple myself. So one of the things, I was looking at them the other day and I saw a set of, I think, 7. I thought, Tracy, you don't even know how to play one. Like, do we need to start with 7? I love gear. I love all the things. I thought maybe I'll do 3. How did you get started? Did you take a class? Did you just play with them? I noticed that some of the bowls have different chords associated with them, different notes, a G or C. And I thought, I don't even know which one I want. I know they coordinate to your chakras, but can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah. So that was just a deep knowing. I experienced my first sound bath at a retreat out in LA, and it was awesome. And it just kept coming into my awareness. And I'm like, this is a sign. I'm just going to get them. And you can start with just one, or you can start with a full chakra set. So my set is the chakra set. Each bowl is attuned to one of the 7 chakras. And I just taught myself how to play. I think it's a feeling thing, right? If it feels good energetically, then the intention that I put into it and me playing it is going to put out an intention to my guests.
And how big are your gatherings?
Oh, the biggest I've had is 13, so not huge, not huge.
No, I love that. I think intimacy is so underrated. It's that sweet spot when you can, especially as women, we go to things where there are tons of people there. If you're working in corporate America, the room's crowded with people. But having those intimate gatherings where it's you and just a handful of other women to experience something like that is absolutely beautiful. I've been talking with a friend about this summer. I think we're going to do something here at my home where a woman's going to come in and do sound healing, and we're going to do it around the pool because we thought being close to water, I'm wondering what that might be like, whether the women are immersed in the pool or it's just bouncing off of the water from the pool. But I thought that might be a really beautiful experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. Water is a conductor, right? So being super hydrated for these events and being next to water is only going to amplify the experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so we talked in your intro kind of about, slowing down, and we talked about listening to your intuition and body. You've shown us all these beautiful examples. What is your go-to practice, like when life starts feeling really noisy or overwhelming?
Well, meditation, walk, journal, and it just depends on the day and the energy, the order of those things, or if I do one versus all three. But a walk can solve just about any single problem that I've ever come up with or come against. And it has to be a disconnected walk, like no phone, no Apple Watch. I talked about this in the podcast that I released today. It's so funny that you bring it up, but being
Wait,
intentional.
I'm sorry, did you say no Apple Watch
No Apple Watch.
on a walk? No, no, why? Tell me why to the watch, because it's not necessarily talking to you and beeping and vibrating and distracting you.
Well, I don't use any kind of Bluetooth earbuds or the Apple Watch just because we don't know how that's affecting our body. And so corded earbuds are the only thing that I use. I don't even own an Apple Watch, and I honestly wouldn't want to just because I don't know how that's affecting us. And there's a lot of research that's showing it's affecting us in scary ways. But even the days that I've forgotten to, and I've taken my phone with me on my walk, and I'll just take it out to take a picture, that pulls us out of presence. It pulls us and disconnects us out of our appointment with God. I believe that nature is it's such it's a hack to our nervous system. It's a hack to our intuition. It's a hack to connection with God. It's really hard to be stressed out when you're in nature and just really being present with the birds and the trees and the beauty. And in my backyard, we have these humongous, oak trees, and and maple trees. And actually, they're probably all maple. My fiance is going to be like, you don't know your trees? He's a logger, so he knows his trees. But I just look at them, and they're so huge. I mean, some of them I can't even fit my arms around. And it's like such a good reminder of how small we are. And nature is a teacher teaching us that we don't have to be in a hurry. We don't have to question everything. We don't have to resist change. I mean, look at a tree and how she releases her beautiful leaves in the fall. She's not scrambling to pick them up or worried they're not going to come back. It's just, I'm obsessed with nature.
She's strong, yet she's flexible. And she understands that being flexible with the wind allows her to, not be pulled over. And I agree. I thought it was just kind of me, but the more that I talk to people, I realize how nature impacts so many people. I've always been into nature. I've always loved animals. The world told me I was ridiculous as a little girl. Now I know better, but I'm now realizing my next level is the intelligence that nature holds. Whether it is these trees, they are alive. They have their own systems. They are complex. They are witnesses to what we're doing. We're witnessing them. Like I'm really starting to get in a whole different level of seeing nature for what it is and also realizing I know nothing. Like I'm just a student. And sometimes I just sit there and it's like, I don't know what it is I need to learn, but I'm here to just quiet myself, be in your presence, and marvel versus just seeing them as they're here for me or, oh, that's a tree. Like I really recognize them with awe. And I mean, I've always done that with animals, but now it's starting to happen with trees and plants and flowers. And there is something to nature for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a resonance, and it's just like co-regulating at a retreat. We're co-regulating with nature all the time.
Yes. So along those lines, do you do work with nervous system work?
About way, I shouldn't even
Okay.
say in a roundabout way. Yes, I do, because nature is a way to tap into nervous system healing. Journaling is a way to heal your nervous system. It's a somatic practice. Meditation is a nervous system healing tool. All of it is related to the nervous system and rewiring your mind simply by changing your thoughts and getting out of your BS, That's all
Yeah.
part of it. It's all intertwined.
Yeah, I'm also learning how important the nervous system is. Before we hopped on this podcast, we took just 3 deep breaths. It is so important. It tells our body that we're safe. It's so simple. It's so available to us. Just taking deep breaths.
Yes.
Lyndsey, do you have a favorite? We've talked about a lot of different things, sound bowl healing, nervous systems and nature, human design. Do you have kind of a go-to or do you just play with all of it?
Yeah, like all of it. Like I was saying, the walk can be one of them. The journaling is a huge part of my life. Every morning I start out with a meditation, a journal exercise, and a walk. And those are my staples. The sound bowls, they're not something that I do every single day, but they definitely help me. And inside my meditations, I do a lot of breathwork type stuff too. So all of it.
Do you go on walks when it's as cold as it is in Wisconsin right now?
Yeah, but it's certainly harder.
Hey, all right. I have no excuses then because I love to walk, but I have not been out. I'm in Indiana, so I haven't done it, but I miss it. I definitely miss it.
Yeah, they're shorter this time of year, I will say that.
Okay. Well, Lyndsey, I wanted to touch on your human design a little bit more. So being with your profile being a 3/5, we talked a little bit about the three, living your life through your lived experiences. There is no failure. You're either winning or you're learning. But with the 5 line, when I think of the 5 line, it is someone who can be considered the problem solver. And a lot of times line 5s are projected on. People sometimes don't actually see you for you. They project onto line 5s what they need them to be, what they want them to be. That can be positive, that can be negative. And they may say, here's what I need you to do. Here's what I need you to fix. Here's what you can do all the things, whether or not you've signed up for that. And it can sometimes be overwhelming if you allow that to shape your world. People are projecting on me that this is who I am. And if you adopt it as your truth, it can be overwhelming, or there can be resentment if people are always coming to you to be the fixer. I'm just wondering. Or the other side to a line 5, it's beautiful energy because it is very universal. You are here to impact on a big level. I'm just curious, how is that showing up for you?
Well, I was always a fixer in relationships, so that was a problem. And as the oldest child, I've also found myself fixing a lot of things and taking on other people's stuff. So yes, that all resonates very much so. And learning about that quality of mine through human design and through all the work that I've done, I would say has allowed me to let go and release some of that need to, it's tied to people pleasing. Like, oh, they're not going to be happy with me if I don't fix it.
Yeah.
And the oldest child in me is like, oh, I'll handle it, give it all to me. That's definitely something that I struggled with in the past couple of years. I lost my dad unexpectedly, and I ended up being the executor of his estate. Highly don't recommend. If you find yourself in that position, listeners, do not take that on. Do not take that on. I don't care how much money it costs you. That is definitely my biggest lesson, is to protect your energy and know your own self-worth enough to not put yourself in that sort of a situation. But yeah, as an oldest child, I have always been the fixer and the one who just handles it, the one who does all the family gatherings and stuff. And as I learn and grow and remind myself of my human design and remind myself that no, I don't have to take on all this stuff, the happier I am, the more free I am.
That's beautiful. I'm sorry to hear about your father. That's never easy. Were you going to say something?
No, I just was going to say thank you.
Okay.
I think that, God brings us to and through all of these hard times so that we can be a lighthouse for the next person in line, the next person that we come across. Like our healing journey is not complete until we can help the next person. And
Absolutely.
I believe that we all are alchemists in that we can turn our pain into purpose and turn our lessons into something helpful for others. We're never, like you said earlier, we're never losing. We're always either winning or learning. And the things that happen in our life are happening for us, not to us.
That's right. And again, as a 3/5, you are here to experience life fully by living it. And then that's how you teach others. That's the magic that you give to others, through your lived experience. So, yeah. Well, I'm curious is there something that you've had to unlearn to fully choose yourself, to fully prioritize Lyndsey?
Well, there's so many things, Tracy. Unlearn people pleasing, unlearn, or I should say relearn ambition, because I don't think ambition is a bad quality, but there's obviously a point where it becomes a recipe for burnout. I used to call myself an idea factory, and I am an idea factory. Like, I have all these ideas. I just need 10,000 minions to help me execute them, right?
Yes.
But learning that not every idea needs to be chased and ideas are not scarce. That's something I've had to learn in the last couple of years that was like this huge aha. There's a million. I'll think of 10,000 of them after we get off this call, I'm sure.
But I'm glad that you are learning to unlearn, because I think that's a big part of, I think, leveling up, realizing, there's some things that we need to shed in order to, reach our next level. Lynz, before we move into our speed round, is there anything else that you would like to share?
Ooh. No, I don't think so. I think we're covering all the good things, all the juicy stuff, right?
Awesome. Well, what makes you come alive?
Helping others. This work.
Yes.
So one of my earliest coaches was Kate Northrup, and I remember being on a call with her, and her and I were talking just like this, and I think she asked, or I don't know, somehow I got into saying that I just want to talk about this stuff all day long. Cyclical planning and she teaches doing less, right? And not working so hard, not moving from hustle, but living in flow. And she told me, you can. And it was like this light bulb moment of, maybe that's what I should be doing with my life. So yeah, all of this stuff makes me come alive. Talking about manifesting, teaching other people how to get grounded and get present, teaching other people how to meditate, because that was something that I really, really struggled with. I would sit and like, I'm sure my face looked like this, like, am I really doing it this time? And I would think I would meditate for, 20 minutes, and here it was like three, 3 seconds maybe. And then I found the form of meditation that I guide now, and I think it's just such an unlock. It's something that I do every single day. I have done it every single day for about 5 years now, and it's completely changed my life. So yeah.
Super impressive that Kate was your direct mentor coach. That's huge.
Yeah, she wasn't as big. She really has blown up in the last.
She's blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was a big coach then at the time, but I realize now, like, her and I were on some calls where it was still a group container, but we were conversing like this. And that was such a big moment. I got to meet her in person at one of Kathy's retreats. And I was like, oh, I manifested this.
Yes. It's a song that instantly shifts your energy or makes you feel something.
Oh, I love music. Absolutely love music. Anything Bob Marley, Megan Trainor. What's the Megan Trainor one? Me Too. Yeah, I love music. Zach Bryan is another one of my favorites, and I'm all over the place, like reggae, country, rock, old school rap. I'm a baby of the 80s. But yeah, I love music, and music is such a fast way to shift your energy.
Instantly.
Instantly. That's one of the tools that I taught my children, because it's such an easy thing, and
Yes.
it's kid friendly, right? Kids love music, so.
Oh, totally. And I'm the same way. There's not a genre of music that I know of that I don't like at least one song. It's just, I love it all. And I'm so amazed by people that can sing. I cannot sing. So it's like, if you can, I'm just like, I'm here for it. How about a book? A book that cracked you open or stayed with you long after the last page.
Okay, I'm a book freak. Total
Yes.
book freak. I am always reading a physical book.
Yes. Same.
I have this one going right now, Tuesdays with Maury.
Oh, yes.
Album. Very good so far. And man, I'm listening on my phone or on Audible. I don't know how many different ones, but the ones that stick with me are my Kate Northrup's, Do Less, Money a Love Story, Untethered Soul,
Yes.
The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. So that's one that I've listened to on Audible. I started listening to it again this morning. It's so good. It's so packed full of wisdom.
Say that one again. What was the last one?
Dynamic Laws of Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza.
Dispenza. Yep.
Yep. The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Yes.
Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. I could listen to him every day. I wish he would read all my books.
I understand that.
To
Those
name
are great. Oh my, it's so, I feel better because I'm like, Tracy, you're out of control. I read so many books at the same time. So it's awesome to hear a list like yours. That's great. How about your favorite little indulgence or guilty pleasure?
God. Well, coffee is an easy answer. And then my beach and sunsets. Like, I feel like an addict. I could sit down there, and I do. I'll be like, I'm gonna run to the river quick. And then they're like, where have you been? And it's been an hour. Because I just sit there, and I'm just like in awe of how beautiful it is. And it also reminds me of my power, because I helped create this. I helped bring this to fruition, right? Like, this was my dream, and here we are in it.
Hey, that's huge. That's huge. Absolutely. That you are living a manifestation. You can see every day how powerful it is to focus, trust yourself. And yeah, your backyard is a beautiful fix. That's what it is. It's all awe and wonder and ooh. Well, one thing that always reminds you how beautiful life really is.
My kids.
Mm. How old are they?
I have a 1-year-old and a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old. Yeah,
Hey.
life is very wild and beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
And beautiful. Wow. Well, I'm trying to reframe the idea of midlife crisis into something I call midlife curiosity. So I'd love to know what's something you're genuinely curious about right now.
Oof. Well, human design, I'm obsessed with human design. I have been for a couple of years, but I I'll like be obsessed with it for a while and then I kind of fall out and then I get back into it and it's just like it's so that's one thing I haven't taken a full course on that I really maybe should. That breath work, like I do breath work in my meditation, but the really I don't even know if there's a name for the particular form of breath work that I am obsessed with, but my friend Christina Summers has come to my groups and done sessions for my people. That's the kind of breath work that I'm obsessed with. Or Jen Liss.
Breath work is so powerful. I just did a session like last week. It always shocks me how powerful it is. It's amazing what happens to you when you really go through, a session and feel all the feels and what it brings up and how your body moves and feels. And yeah, in human design, it's so complex. When I do my sessions with people, we're just scratching the surface. We're just getting to the basics, which are so important. They are the most foundational aspects, but it's so beautifully layered. You can just keep peeling back more and more and more. And the more you get in alignment with your design, the more that the rest of the minutia, the fine detail really comes to life and matters. So yes,
Oh, I totally agree with that. I tell people all the time if it doesn't make sense or resonate with you right away, it might be because you're so out of alignment with it because you've been conditioned so, to be out of alignment with it.
yeah. And it also could be that you don't resonate with it because you've just moved away from it. Like what I was trying to say is you could be in the lower expression of your chart. There's a higher expression and a lower expression. There are gifts, there's shadows. And when I first found my human design, I was in the shadow part of it. What the potentiality of it, I couldn't really relate to. And then when I got down to the shadows, I was like, here I am. This is where I am. And which is good because once you realize you're in the shadows, you can kind of see that you're there. And once you get yourself in alignment, you can see instantly how the higher expressions are, truly, truly you.
Ooh, that's not something I've ever talked about. I'm really curious about the shadow part.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There's a lot of polarity in human design. There are gifts and challenges. There's definitely shadows for everything. There's like the polar opposite. And so, yes, when you are out of alignment, you're working against your energy. You are in the lower expressions of your chart. That's all. But what I love about human design is there's still, that's not even bad. There's nothing bad about your design wherever you are. And once you have that awareness of here's where I am, or here's how I'm being conditioned, then it's very powerful to know that here's where I can go. Especially when you can see, and when you get into the gene keys, it's really nice because with each thing you can see what each level looks like. Okay, so you're here today, but man, the gift of this is here, and then you can try to work towards that. So yeah, it's just don't even get me started, Lynz. We'll be going on for the next 3 hours. I love it. I love it. I love it. But Lynz, before we go, how can people connect with you or work with you?
So they can come and find my free podcast, Design the Life You Love with Lynz. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places. I'm also on YouTube. And then designthelife you love Lynz.com, and that's Lynz. and you'll see my programs in there.
Definitely check her out for sure. And thank you for bringing your presence, your voice, and your story to A Beautiful Fix. And to everyone listening, I hope this episode reminds you that your life is yours to shape moment by moment. And until next time, keep getting high on life, one beautiful fix at a time. Thanks for listening to A Beautiful Fix. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a quick review to help others find us. And if you'd like to share your own beautiful fix or join me as a guest, reach out anytime at Tracy@abeautifulfix.com. Looking forward to next time.